Shalom. I want to start by giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai, Baruch Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace salutation to all your Akim across the earth who do this work in sincerity and in truth. Shalom. So, yeah, I already see the picture there, So this week, or last week, I said it, Ramadan started, and you got a lot of our people who also are in this Islam movement, who believe this, who go along with this nonsense, While the Bible clearly, how you say that, learns us not to do as those heathens are doing, So this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, and verse 1. Hear ye the word which Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Because it's only talking to the children of Israel. This Bible is not for those other nations. It's not for those other heathens. They using they using this Bible. They go to church and teach everybody that God's love everybody, but that's not the case, man. The book of Psalms, chapter 147, it explains you clear that the law, statutes, and commandments they're only given to the children of Israel. Let me see. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 147, verse 19. He showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. 20. He had not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgment, they have not known them. Praise ye Yahweh. So that already shows the Most High doesn't care about those other nations, And there are multiple scriptures on that, let me see. Because I can jump to the book of Second Esdras. Let me see. Because there's another also. Oh, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh thy power had chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So the Most High, Yahweh, has chosen us to be a special treasure unto him. He wants us to be above the other nations. He have put us above the other nations, but we went into all kinds of nonsense and all kinds of religions. As now you got this Ramadan. Let me see. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 14. Ye shall not go after other powers of the gods of the people. Let me start again. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 14. Ye shall not go after other gods of the gods of the people which are round about you. So, like I started to read in Jeremiah, the scripture said, "Do not follow the ways of the heathen." Let me read. Yeah, let me read because I didn't finish it. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10 and 1. Hear ye the word which Yahweh spaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heaven are dismayed, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Yeah. So learn not the way of the heathen. These heathens, this Islamic, this Arabs, they used to have 300, I believe it was 360 gods. They had a lot of gods that they were following, and then later they started with this with this Allah thing, And Allah in the Hebrew it means power. And the fun part is, even in their own book, it says that that who they call Allah, that Yahweh only loved the children of Israel. It said that God, in their book, it said that God only loved the children of Israel above all the other nations. So it's funny, but a lot of them, they don't know, or they be talking about, yeah, it's a different translation. No, it's not a different translation. And that Quran is translated in I don't know how many languages, and but anyway, their own book is cutting them. So back to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 14. Ye shall not go after other gods of the people which are round about you, for Yahweh thy power is a jealous uh, God among you, lest the anger of Yahweh thy power be kindled against thee and destroy thee from off the face of the earth. And as you look at our people nowadays, our people are destroyed. Our people are destroyed, and the Mosai is talking. Is very clear about it. You know, you got the people worshiping gibbers. You know, they going into Islam. They going into Buddhism. You know, they you know, in Brazil, you know, you got the capoeira that going on. The people follow Santa Maria. You know, Santa Maria is also with some voodoo shit. You know, there's a Hamite stuff in it. You know, because that voodoo and that stuff, that brujeria, all the stuff, that's what they learned from the Hamites. You know, that is what these so-called Western people are using. The Americas, you know, all those elites, those people on higher levels. You know, that's what they do. And they do the witchcraft. You know, the demon worship. And it's from the Hamites, from the Egyptians. You know, that's what they do. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 5. Uh, Let me see, chapter 5, verse 7. Thou shalt have none other gods before me. So the Mosai already shows us, you know, this is we ain't supposed to do that. But our people been doing that. That's why we are in the situation nowadays, you know. That's why we under the curses, you know. The book of Baruch, it shows us, let me see, the book of Baruch, it explains us why we in this situation, because we didn't want to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 6. Ye were sold to the nations, but not for your destruction, but because ye moved Yahweh to wrath, you were delivered unto the enemies. For ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to Yahweh. Yeah, because all these things that our people are worshiping, it, it you know, entities or whatever, it's devil, man. It's devil worship. You're going against Yahweh Basham Yahushai. So yeah, so that's why we in this situation nowadays, you know. And you know, so you got this Ramadan going on, and you know, that thing is world news. You know, they announce it on the news like you know, a week before already. They're talking about, yeah, next week this Ramadan's gonna start, this and that, you know. And I had my job, you know, like last week, you know, this thing started. I believe, I think it started on Tuesday or something. I was really that dude was really annoying me, a weak ass pussy, because you know the Bible talks, you know, the book of Matthew, it explains us concerning having when you fast, how it's supposed to be. You know, it's not that, you know, this dude, he announced me the day before, so I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday that it started. I'm not sure, but I remember the day before he said like, yeah, tomorrow's gonna be heavy for me because then I have to start the Ramadan. Look, man, when we fast at least 24 hours. We fast from sundown to sundown. You know, from sundown to sundown, at least. You know, that's how we fast. You know, the Israel. That's how we fast in Israel. Of course, you can take a half fast. You know, and you know, things like that. But in general, when we fast, you know, we fast from sundown to sundown. You know, we got the Day of Atonement. You know, and that's the only day that all of Israel need to take a fast. You know, from sundown to sundown. That's, you know, because the Day of Atonement, you do it for your sins and all that. And of course, if you want to go and praise, then you take a fast. You know, and we can fast whenever we want, basically. You know, when your spirit is when you feel it in your spirit. You know, sometimes, you know, I remember like one time I had a dream, you know, and I dreamt, or in my dream I dreamt of a certain date, and then I knew like, okay, that's the I need to take a fast on that date. And I believe even in a dream I was thinking or talking about or thinking that I need to take a fast, you know. So I took a fast and started it on that date that I had in my dream, you know. But anyway, I think, yeah. So this dude, he was announcing me like a day before already, like, okay, tomorrow's going to be hard for me, this and that. because then the Ramadan starts, I'm like, man, fucking pussy, and then so the next day he came, he came late, to begin with. His face was all sad, and he was only a couple of minutes late, so his face was all sad, and I was already at the job, and I was ready to start, and so the owner of the house, so what I do, I'm painter, like maintenance, painting outside, and also do some stuff inside, like walls and the woodwork and stuff like that, doors and stuff like that. So anyway, so we had the job at some rich Edomite's house, So I was already there on the job on time. This dude was late, so I was ready to start, and so he entered, and the dude asked him, the owner of the house asked him if he wants something to drink. That's what they do, here. They offer you tea or coffee or whatever, And so they asked him if he wanted coffee or something. And so the owner of the house asked him that. So he said like, no, I'm, no, I don't want, because I got the Ramadan is started now. So he was already set, and the dude was so interested. People are always acting like all interested. Oh, how brave of you, how you can handle. And he asked him like, oh, how many days do you have? How many days do you still have to go? And he said, yeah, it started today. He said, oh, okay, man. Yeah, hey, very brave of you, and you're very strong, and this and that. And he was all the time. He was sighing and something. Like, I was painting. I was busy. Then I hear him in the other room like, oh, like, like like when somebody is in pain, he's like, oh, he was so making all that sound. So he was standing there with his droopy face, and so one moment I'm like, yo, can you keep it up or whatever, and he was like, man, it's really hard, man, I can't smoke, because that's also what a lot of the majority of those Pislam suckers do. They smoke cigarettes, and a majority of them, they do that. So he was like, yeah, I can't smoke, drink or eat, and the smoke was the first thing. That shows you also that the cigarette thing, it's an addiction, a heavy addiction. That cigarette demon is strong. People can't quit. They've been trying to quit for like 30 years or something. So that was the first thing that he said, that he couldn't smoke. And in myself, I had to, I say that, fight against my flesh, because hey, I felt like cursing him, like talking about, man, you're taking a baby fast and you're complaining and shit, But yeah, basically he's making a fool out of himself. He's been doing that the whole week, because I believe before 2 o'clock he already left, and since the beginning of the Ramadan he did it all the whole week. He came even later, like 8 o'clock. We have to start at the job. Then he comes at the job like 8:30 or 8:15, and all with a sad face, and all, like, oh, so hard and this, So I really had to, stay calm and not to basically cut him up, because that is bullshit what he was doing. But anyway, the book of Matthew, chapter 6, it explains to us, and us, with us I mean the children of Israel, which are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and the so-called Indianos. It explains to us how we need to deal with that if we take a fast, and be not as them, because they doing all those, they doing all those things what those hypocrites are doing. They got, in the evening, you know, then they have their evening prayer. They all go praying in the mosque. You got the Yiddish going to the synagogue. And you got the so-called Christians going to the churches. Praying all together. Those are things that we ain't supposed to do. Let me see. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 5. It's like chapter 6, verse 5. And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogue and in the corner of the street, and also in the mosque, And yeah, you have this so-called Christians, then they want to pray with people on the street. You see that a lot of time. And like in Amsterdam, you got a lot of West African females, Jacob descendants, and they like to pray with people. I've seen it many times when we were teaching. You see them, they say something to somebody, and because in this time everybody is suffering and shit. They all, it's also hard for them. There's nothing open. They only can do groceries and stuff. So people are really sad and looking for an answer and stuff. So you get these females. They just stop regular people and ask him, how they doing, like, do you believe in God, this and that. They come with this. They got their standard way of how they start talking. I remember, like, back in the days of in the beginning, when I was fresh in the truth. I love to cut up those Jehovah wickedness and evangelize. And one time I had a couple of morons at my door. I was cutting them up. I was like, they were like, yeah, we come you this and that. I'm like, oh, you're morons, right? Mormons. And they're like, yes, this and that. I say, okay, man. I got an. Oh, let me wait. Wait a minute. Let me grab my Bible. And I knew, they also got the scripture. Second Nephi. Second Nephi. It talks about how the dark skin is a curse, while it's another way around. The book of in the book of Morons, Second Nephi, chapter 5 verse 21. It explains that. While in the Bible there are multiple scriptures concerning having a white skin, and even about yellow hair, blonde hair, so called, you know, and it's teaching you that is unclean. But anyway, so back to the book of Matthew. So it explains us, like I read in the verse 5. You got the people praying on the street and all that, and that's not how we as children of Israel supposed to do it. Verily I say unto you that, let me read again. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 5. And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogue and in the corner of the streets. Verily I say unto you that they have their reward. Yeah, because people looking at them, and they were saying the same thing was going on with that dude. People were like, "Oh, very brave of you, this and that." So everywhere we went, because we had a couple of jobs, everywhere we went to do our work, people were really looking up to him, putting him on a pedestal for, like, talking, oh, you're so strong, you're so brave that you can contain, or are you not even allowed to drink. These couple of a few hours through the day, and then the whole night they can eat. But anyway, verse 6, book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 6. But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that you have to go into your closet. You got a closet where you hang your clothes in and stuff. And you're gonna go in that closet and start praying to Yahweh Sham Yahushai. No, it means that you shouldn't pray on site. You can just pray in your room, in your sleeping room, and just pray there. Matthew chapter 6, verse 7. But when ye pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Yeah. Even like back in the days, I don't know if they're still doing it. Every time before prayer, with the mosque, you had some shit going on, like, yeah. I don't know exactly. I can't copy it, but yeah, you should know how stupid that is, how annoying. But anyway, that's what they do. So they call everybody for the prayer, and that's the scriptures, like I just read, it shows us that's not the way it's supposed to be done. Um, Matthew chapter 6, verse 7. But when you pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Be not ye therefore like unto them, For your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before you ask Him. Yeah, and don't ask Yahweh Basham Yahushua for carnal stuff. For find a girlfriend or whatever, that bullshit, or to be able to buy a bigger car and stuff and that. No, man. Pray for wisdom and understanding and for health, basically. And the Most High shall add, and He knows what you really need. Um, Matthew chapter 6 and 8. Be not ye therefore like unto them, for your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask Him. After this manner therefore pray ye, O Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us daily our daily bread, yeah, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. For if we, let me see. Let me jump to verse 16. Book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 16. Moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance. Yeah, this dude, he claimed, he came, I believe it was Tuesday morning. He was looking hella sad, man. His chin was on the floor. His chin was on the ground, man. That's how sad he used to look, man. Droopy face all over. Moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces, that they may appear unto men to fast. Yeah, he's already looking sad, so that like, oh yeah, he's taking a fast. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. Like I said, everybody that saw his sad face, they were I said giving him compliments like, oh, how brave and how strong are you that you can do that, this and that. But thou, when thou fastest, anoint thine head. Yeah, you know, oil your head like use the stuff that you always do. Keep your skin shining. Because of the oil, and wash thy face, that thou appear not unto men to fast, but unto thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Yeah, because you have in your fast, and of course it's good to tell your household too. If you got a wife, just explain to her I got a fast, so she will not continually order or give you food or whatever. Be like, oh, you want to drink something, because she will understand that you fast, that you have in a fast. But yeah, other than that, there's no reason to tell people. There's no reason to tell people in your surrounding that you're gonna keep take a fast. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it like this. The point that I wanted to make is clear. It's like this Ramadan thing is bullshit, and as children of Israel, we shouldn't be doing that. This is not the thing that we should be doing. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai, Waharuka Kodash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us the scriptures, among other things, and salutations to Yakim across the earth who doing his work in sincerity and in truth. So with that, I'm gonna say Shalom.